University Academia of Life. I was already exercising for 2 hours there, just like that, né? Because the sun is strong, né? And I feel it, you see. According to anthroposophy, this is the kind of mixture of Indian and European Gnosticism, né? You know that? No. Anthroposophy, Rudolf Steiner.
What is it?
There's a great story. You know Madame Blavatsky, you know Krishnamurti?
Yeah, I know.
You know Krishnamurti? Krishnamurti is a boy who was a son of a somehow, what you would call it, Verwalter, somebody who was in the office of the so-called Theosophic Society. Theosophic Society was based in Madras, in India, in the end of 19th century. And this was financed and managed intellectually by but mainly by British mystics and esoterics, and philosophers and kind of people who have ideas and money.
Was it about theology?
It was Theosophy. This is different. Theology is theos plus logos, which is a discipline you study at the university if you want to understand the conceptual model of a religion which believes in God. Theology. But Theosophy is the same word construction as philosophy. There is the word Sophia at the end. Sophos. Sophia is wisdom.
Greek,
Sophos, no? Sophia. It's wisdom. Okay, so you do not study logic of concepts scientifically, so you try to feel the wisdom of life, and then you talk about it. This is Theosophy. You accept the idea that there is a God, or some creative power, but you don't want to study it like mathematics, like composition of matter, but you try to feel into that and get visions and inspirations, and then you describe them. This is Theosophy. And it was a discipline which connects the ideological structure of Vedanta plus Christianity. Because Vedanta does not believe in one God, does not believe in gods at all.
Yeah, not the personification.
No, not the personification. Look, these idiots, they are protesting when they see and hear man, because they are envious of our discussion. They have only one monotonous. Well, you will not make philosophy like that. Sit down and divide your into at least. That is the first step.
I think he heard you.
Okay. So this is the stupidity of animals in a kind of humorous sense described, because they cannot be.
I think we should not compare animal intelligence.
Yeah, that's the truth. Okay, then Theosophy back. So it was a kind of movement, ideological and spiritual and cultural, which tried to save Europe, let us say, in the basic, deepest root, from its one-way, self-destruction, through Christianity into self-destruction. Because Christianity is been already criticized by Nietzsche and by the Frankfurt School at the newest time as criticism of Enlightenment. Logos is the basis of Christianity also, because at the beginning there was Logos, writes in the Bible. That is reason. It is the heritage from the pre-Greek and Greek philosophy, like Eleatism, where you have the nous, the clear reason. But it is logical and it is abstract. So, and that leads then to enlightenment and to science and to destruction of the matter through atomic energy and genetic manipulation, in my view. Okay. And so this was already failed, and they have created this blend, and they moved to Madras in India, and they have had some friends and somebody was helping them, and they managed the estate and office work. Nah? Clever Europeized Indians. Nah? And one of them had a son, which was the little Krishnamurti. I don't know his real name. This is a pseudonym. And he was playing on the beach, and etc., etc. And these Indian gurus, the Indian and British, mainly British esoterics, were walking there, and they had this idea that somebody is coming, Savior is coming. This incarnation of the Savior in Indian terms, what do you call it? Nah? There's one name, Avatar. Avatar is coming. Nah? It's an incarnation of a principle, of a cosmic principle, which always comes when destruction is imminent. Nah? And he teaches people, he incarnates this principle, which is impersonal, incarnates into a human being, which is born here normally as every boy, and then he teaches the way away from self-destruction. And this was Krishna, and they decided this is him, Krishnamurti, the little boy, is him. And they talked to the father, and the father was always also open to this idea, and they offered him, we will adopt your son, as the society will become the father, the spiritual father, and we will finance the best education you can get on this earth, so that when he becomes self-realized, he can teach. Okay, so they sent him to Oxford and paid for his studies and paid him good living. We have a break where our Indian expert on Vedanta is making a telephone call, a voice note, which reminds me of this, we should change it. We should return back to visions and feelings, and we should send morphogenetic emanation from your brain would send the message, which is the complete internet. 5.0. You don't need the hardware. You can send it right through your soul. But they are trying to supplement it with the chips from Elon Musk. But this is the everlasting mistake of humanity, that is mistakes the spiritual values, the spiritual processes for material. The same was in game when they have personified the gods, because they could not operate with this impersonal power of universe. They wanted to nail it down to some personal entity,
so that people could relate to it.
And that they can sort of sacrifice, and then they can also demand. You see, in some religions, people destroy the gods if they do not fulfill their wishes, because they say, okay, this is a relationship of give and take. I worship you, and you do what I think. What I want. If not, some primitive religions really destroy the gods. They burn them. Say you don't comply.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because it's a business relation.
Yeah.
You should accept that this greater power is always much, much, much greater than you, and then it can be communicated with only through images, emotions, feelings, which are personal, because you are a person. And then you have to apply hermeneutics, which is a great German invention of interpretation of texts. You have to interpret your visions and your feelings. You cannot take them one to one. You say, my inspiration is the last and only true. And so back to Krishnamurti, he then was educated in Oxford and became very devoted. Because as a young boy, he was living with those mystics and esoterics, and they were reading to him all those secret texts. As a young boy, as a fairy tale, which is quite normal that if you are a little girl or boy and hear about the dragons and the warriors and the kings and princesses, you see them, you believe in them. Actually, your soul projects into those words you hear, and you create yourself once again, but this time as a hero now, as a princess. And so he saw that. He saw all of that. He was talking with the violet flame of the master of the seventh level of,
The weather is so nice.
yeah, why don't you dress out?
I fucking love it.
Yes,
So good.
because this is the day, you see. I have lived for many summers and springs. So I have experience. I know when the sun hits and says, now it's over. It about 2 weeks before it starts below the ground. The worms and the beetles and the bacteria,
They sense it.
they wake
sense it.
because they have to start working because they have.
How do they know? Like,
This is a morphogenetic field. We know, I mean, at least in my philosophical theory, biogenetic phenomenalism, is that all non-personal organisms, that is plants and animals, they don't have ego. And that's why their soul is not blocked. The soul is not blocked.
so they're connected to the.
They are the expression of the biosphere. They are the expression of cosmos. The earth is the expression of cosmos.
Hey, that's a nice way to look at it.
Isn't it? And only a human being which has an ego makes a barrier inside his brain, inside his soul, and all the barriers that are kind of sexes, one after the another, are widening, and drying out this.
Because you separate yourself from
It starts like consciousness, self-consciousness. What is self-consciousness? It is a separation of an entity which is in you, somehow supposed, and immediately when you suppose this, the rest of the world becomes an object.
True.
Otherwise, you cannot talk about a subject. True. Okay, or the other way around. So, and then you have immediate fear that if you are you, the only one, you know yourself, you are special. You must be afraid that you die or that you become hurt, that you become ill, somebody steals your money, your woman, your food, and you start to use what? Will to power to prevent it. Then the birth of the will to power is immediate consequence of realizing that you are an ego.
And this is where conflict starts.
The conflict starts. And then you have to orient yourself. How am I going to prevent it? That they steal my food, my woman, and my money? And how am I becoming the strongest? So what does it mean? How? Bedeutet orientation. You have to find your way in this complex world. So you have to reduce it into objects that are manageable.
But think about it, like the resources that nature provides
These
us,
are enough.
It's completely sufficient.
Yeah.
It's completely sufficient for our needs, but not for our greed.
No,
That's the thing, right?
that's ego. Ego is the expression of ego is greed, no? Because but we have to look at it from Nietzschean perspective, no? That it is not so as if we were able to choose. No? So if I would like one day I wake up and I say, okay, today I'm going to be greedy. No. Today I'm going to be loving and giving. This is not possible for a soul because this is it. This is a great problem of
You have
all.
free will.
I tell you why.
I have free will, I can choose.
Genau,
how I want to live my life.
This is the great problem of all cognitive ideas. If you search an answer for a question like this, you make a slice of time which is present because you are nowhere else than in the present. You make a slice through the present and freeze it and say, now, this is the situation, these are the conditions, and I can start from here. Whatever I want to do, if I have free will, I can start. But this slice of the frozen present moment is in actuality an outcome of an enormous karmic chain. You see, you cannot isolate this slice of present from the past. So the idea that you are free is simply an idea. Some people are free because their soul is through decades has lived right karma, like good work, good relationships, also life-supporting relationships, friendly relationships, for community and meditation and so on. So they have collected so positive karma that now they can be...
They're not bound.
They are bound. They can be giving. Others who have been businessmen and warriors and have been
They're too entangled in
they are entangled in their Trishna, in their Anhaften, in their desire to possess, and in the present moment they suffer naturally when they are lonely and ill and so on. They decide, yes, Guru told me I must be good, I must emanate love, and that will be all good. And that's how they start. 8 o'clock in the morning they emanate good, and then comes the telephone at 9 o'clock. The money is in danger. You have to reinvest. Oh, okay. Now I'll reinvest and then I will be good again. So this is not.
It's a vicious cycle.
This is a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So to say, but animals. This is the moment when we have departed from our discussion, from my I don't call it discussions, friendly, but mostly I talk.
No,
Is the animals and plants, because they don't have the ego,
no.
have absolutely no greed. When the like we have on the street, there is this squirrel, nah? He's running around and collecting something. And also, if you see the raven, when I throw him something, he is clever enough to, if he has 2 pieces, he puts 1 piece into the ground and hides it, and he knows where it is, and eats the other one. But this is not greed.
No, this is
This is
just-
instinct.
Yeah.
This is instinct.
And it's not for like he's gonna sell it.
Yeah.
It's not that he's gonna sell it.
He's going to fight for it
Yeah.
if somebody wants to take it away
No,
from
but
him.
that's because of his own survival.
Genau,
not,
das
not
ist his
because
survival.
he wants to, like start a business. Or
Genau. So, and that's why the plants and animals are an immediate, let us say, expression of this biospheric and cosmic forces, like plants open when the sun comes out. How do they do it? No? They do not say, okay, yes, I must get some nourishment, I must get some photons. Now let's open.
No, but the thing is, they already know. For example, like I've seen small insects, for example, like cockroaches and stuff. Like they like when there are days like where it's cloudy and rainy.
Yeah.
And then there is suddenly a sunny day. You will already see the cockroaches coming out of their holes and already scavenging for food before the weather changes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So they kind of have this like sixth sense
Genau.
where they can already already visualize what tomorrow's
No.
gonna be like.
The sixth sense is another expression for morphogenetic fields. Yeah, because again in nature nothing happens like abruptly, like now. Now it's cloudy. No. It is sunny. If tomorrow would be cloudy, you would say that in the evening it changes and the clouds start to gather temperature, humidity, and this is the expression of them that the soul of the earth changes, the software changes slowly, and these animals and plants they have feelers to see and feel the slow change.
They're working really good.
They're working. And there was a desire, there was an attempt in the 19th century in Germany to make natural science really natural. That is to say, take animals and plants and watch them what they do, how they build their houses, form and shapes, and how they, change energy and metabolism, and then adjust our human culture to that. Yeah, they build houses that like snails build houses that are perfect for them, and it is architecturally very solid.
But we did take a lot of design inspirations from nature.
Yeah,
like,
we
for
did.
example, aeroplanes.
Yeah.
And,
Aerodynamic. But at the beginning they were wanting to run.
No, I'm not talking about the wings, but like the
aerodynamic shape.
The aerodynamic design shape of the aeroplane.
The
is
fish
inspired,
and of the bird, which is
from
natural.
Kingfishers, from kingfisher bird, from hummingbirds.
Yeah.
The aerodynamic design, they also implement it in cars, for example.
Yeah. Because it's a kind of constant phenomenon in this biosphere. If a small object moves fastly in the surroundings of a biosphere, which is either air or water,
and they do it so well.
They do it so well. We shall.
Because it comes after like thousands of years of evolution.
Of trial and error. Yeah. In the Cambrian explosion, there was a time where there were so many new forms, and some of them were absurd. So like there was like horns, only horns and eyes on the top, and.
You know what's a hummingbird?
Yeah, hummingbird is
like,
this one.
Scientists have found out that like for the weight and the size of a hummingbird, they have the for most perfect aerodynamic design ever.
Yeah.
Most perfect. You know? And this, I mean, like nobody knows aerothermodynamics. You know? Like, nature does not know aerothermodynamics, but like from years of evolution, they made this like small animal into like the most perfect design ever. Think about it. Like this is beautiful.
Yeah, also some salmon fish that jumps up the streams, no?
Right.
And they fly through the air, and you would say physically impossible, no? And but there are suggestions like from the Schaubergers, was a German water expert in the 19th century, beginning 20s, who said when something is falling down, a gravitational fall, then immediately a compensation arises alongside this stream of falling matter. We finished Krishnamurti. We have diverted into this
But we're going to come back to it. Here, right?
But I want to close the subject now, because it's when you talk about the subject, it is active in Akasha now, and it wants to be expressed. So we have changed into these morphogenetic fields and shapes of animals, which is also interesting. How does it happen that plants and animals know what weather is going to come, and they are in direct contact? So this Theosophic project was to help the European kind of stubborn one way of one God and personified God and will to power.
My imaginary friend is the best. You
know? Okay, and so and they wanted to help, and they started to blend Vedanta and Christianity. And one of the very deep and with thousands of books. Outcome of it is the so-called Anthroposophy in Germany from 19 or something like to 1924, where the guru of Anthroposophy, the main thinker Rudolf Steiner, died. And now there are schools here, zum Beispiel, all around Germany and all around the world. There you have Waldorf schools, and schools that run according to his model, and hospitals. And I worked myself 15 years on biological farms, then run according to his ideas, because he was like me, saying that nature is in direct contact with the spiritual, cosmic and power, and we have to serve it. We must not destroy this by thinking in concept and saying this is chemistry. We put just more phosphorus and then it's okay. No, so and Theosophy was the English blend of this Vedanta plus European mysticism and Christianity, and Krishnamurti was the son of this English of this Indian co-worker, and he got his education in Oxford, and he became very gentlemanly-like and very educated, and then he returns to India, to Madras and to the society, and he then has discussions with like Buddha, basically. He was supposed to be the coming, incarnation of Avatar. They have even created an order and like a religious group or order of the shining of the silver star, as a star is a symbol of a coming avatar. And he was well known in the philosophical circles because he had a good roots, and he became also a philosopher. He didn't stay a guru. He was really investigating, and so he investigated all religions and all philosophies. He had time and money without end, and it was a good choice because he was he had an intellectual consciousness. He didn't just talk, and then he comes to the great revelation. Came to Krishnamurti, came to revelation when he was like, it was 1929, and the revelation was before, when he realized that all conceptual talk about outside world and inside world is a model, is an illusion. We must not adhere to the words, to the concept. His famous idea is thinking must stop, which means thinking in concept must stop, so that to realize the ever-changing phenomenal reality. No? His essays, he has written enormous amount of essays, no? And he has made a lot of lectures to psychiatrists, psychologists and philosophers in the 1960s, 70s, no? 80s, because they all were somehow, they were in the end with the conceptual model, no? And they wanted to be enlightened, as it was in the 60s. Everybody wanted to be enlightened. No? And they go, the clever ones, the teachers, the Western teachers go to Krishnamurti. He had then an estate in California. Because why? Because 1929, where it was somewhere in Holland, I guess, the thousands and tens, maybe 10 of thousands of the supporters of him, these who believe that he is an avatar, he will save the world, they came and he should have a proclamation speech. Now I tell you what to do. And he said exactly the opposite. Go home, I have nothing to say. Because I tell you one thing, all conceptual plans of what will be or should be is an illusion. We have to let it happen, we have to be watchful, we have to open our soul, we have not to create barriers. And then the philosophers and professors ask him, what do you mean by that in his lectures? What do you mean by that? He said, listen, try to do this. Do not try to search for the meaning of what I say, because then you are, you are caught in your concepts. Try to watch yourself and feel what it means that you need a meaning. Try to catch this force in you, which is all the time waiting for anything that comes to put it into a box of your meaningful model of the world, which is basically the same as meditation. In meditation, you can say it to Indians, because they believe the Guru, don't think, don't follow your images, don't follow your inner dialogue.
They say this because they don't want, the goal is not to associate yourself with your thoughts or your surroundings in particular. That is like, my thoughts are not really me.
Yeah, but okay, I say in Indian complex, in an ashram, when you are in the ashram and you are an Indian, you simply do it because you believe the Guru that he's telling you the right thing. And by Europeans, you had to make it clever. You had to tell them, there is a search for meaning in you, and this is what you have to watch for. You have to try to get behind it, because it's a barrier. So Krishnamurti is the one who then became famous for a long time, because this is what I regard as very, very honest and solid from this Theosophic society, that after they built him up, and at the highest moment when they could, be rewarded, he says, no, I don't play this game because it's wrong. They nevertheless were so correct philosophically that they say, okay, we believe you because we believed you before, now believe you also.
Right.
Okay, we cannot just say now, we don't like what you say, so you are wrong.
No, of course not.
No, we believe you also. We don't know, we don't understand. You are, different, you are enlightened, let us say. So let's go on. We will dissolve the society, but they provided him with enough means so that they bought even the whole valley in California for him. And there he could live and teach. So this is what I think correct. And he is full, the internet, if you make Krishnamurti, it's full until now. And his books are translated to all languages. And he is one of the great thinkers for me. So this is it, the beginning of summer. Now to the birthday party.
The goal in life.